Hello, everybody. I'm Nate, and I'm going to talk about something that's very new. It's hot off the press as of like a few days ago, called ExoMind. You can think of ExoMind as like a life assistant, a personal assistant, a co-pilot. Still trying to toy with what to call it, but it's contextual, right? So it has context of you and your life. Okay, so that's what makes it different. You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you scan that QR code. This is how I've been in the past, which is very, like these little Post-it notes that just get plastered all over my monitor. And for a while, I was like carrying these things, like I was putting them on a piece of paper, and then I would like have to carry this piece of paper with me. And it was like really, really bad, like really disorganized. And so I've been, over the years trying to find like this perennial, like what's the kind of system that would help me organize all the chaos in my life. And I discovered a few years ago this book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. How many people here have read Getting Things Done? It's also called GTD is like the other thing. So his basic premise is like your mind was made for having ideas, not for storing ideas, right? So the idea is get the stuff out of your head and get it into a trusted system. And by the way, this is not a trusted system, right? Just in case you were wondering, like a trusted system is having your stuff in a place you have, ideally you have it with you at all times. It's like, on your phone, or it's in a little notebook, or it's something that you have. And whenever you have an idea, you can just go to that place and you can write the idea down, and you know that you'll be able to recover that idea. Or it could be a task, or it could be a project, or it could be, someone's birthday, just a system that you can go and you can find it. So the obvious question is, well, why can't we just use ChatGPT to help us like manage our life, right? ChatGPT is smart. Well, the problem is like you talk to these chatbots and they hear you, but they don't really listen, right? They're very sycophantic. They're great at like setting timers, but they don't actually help you with your life, right? They don't really know you. They don't have context for your life. And they forget everything you tell them. Now, I just noticed that Claude, as of today or yesterday, they're now saying like, hey, do you want us to remember everything you've ever told us? So they are starting to get a memory, which I think will help. But they don't really know what your goals are, what your dreams or aspirations. Obviously, if you've told them that, they know that. But most of these chatbots don't really know very much about you. So they don't have access to your emails or your calendar or your projects or your task list or any conversation threads. So basically, when you sit down to use ChatGPT, you have to tell it everything. You have to load it with all that context, right? So I was thinking like, well, what if we could provide all of that context in a safe and private way? So that was kind of what sparked this idea. So why doesn't it work? Well, it's sort of a problem of like garbage in, garbage out, right? If you give an AI poor context, you're going to get poor output. You're not going to get the best output than if you give really rich context to the AI, right? So this is, doing it with engineering, right? Where you're giving it, business definitions, data quality rules, compliance guidelines. You're giving it tools. You're giving the model a lot of context about the problem domain, and it can do, a better job with it. For your personal life, this might be your calendar, your email, your schedule for the week. It might be your journal entries if you want to like give it that kind of information. So about, I don't know, 6 months or so, I discovered this thing called LifeOS. It's up on GitHub, and I forked it, and I've been playing with it for the last 2 months, I'd say, and really like giving it a lot of context. It all runs locally on my machine, and everything is just markdown files. And you can think of it as kind of like a co-pilot that implements the GTD system. So I can just tell the AI like, hey, remember, I got to get this thing done. It adds it to my inbox, and then I can like triage all the stuff that's in my inbox and add it to my next actions list. And it's a way of like really like the GTD philosophy, like getting it out of your head and getting it into a trusted system. And so I've been using this as a way to do that, and happy to show you guys if you want to see what I was using before, but I'm going to be focusing more on the new thing. It also implements this thing called level 10 life areas. So these are like the big things in life, right? Like health, relationships, career, finance, personal growth, fun, environment, family, contribution, and spirituality. So all these big areas of your life. And what the system does is it basically like asks you a bunch of questions to try to get a sense of like how do you feel about these different areas of your life? And it asks you to rate a score of 1 to 10. How are you doing? And every quarter it does a life assessment. And then it sort of tracks, from quarter to quarter, how are you doing? Are you going up? Are you going down? And based on the ones that maybe you want to improve, it will then ask you, what are some quarterly objectives? So like you might be familiar with OKRs, right? Like we use these in the workplace. You can also have personal OKRs, right? That are measurable, right? Okay, so that's Life OS. How many people have heard of Claude Skills? Raise your hand. Okay, so this is a real game changer. I've just been like going really deep and almost being obsessed with Claude Skills the last few days. And someone asked me today, I think it was Mike was asking, like, what are skills? Like, how are they different from agents and tools and MCPs and whatever? So the way I'm thinking about it is like the skills is like the how, or like, how do you actually do it? Like a manual or a handbook or instructions for how to do something. So you can think of like how to read a legal brief or how to design a UI. Maybe you have a tech stack that's, a particular thing that you like to do, like a way that you like building your software. And then the agents are the who, right? So these are like specialized workers that do code review, they do testing, they do design, they do development. That's who's going to do the thing. That the skills are like the how, and the subagents are the who. And then tools are like, MCP servers or API integrations or, external services. Basically, like it can generate Word docs or PDF docs. So that would be an example of a tool. So just to make this really clear, I have this nice analogy, right? If you think of like a kitchen, the tools are like, the knives and the blenders and the microwaves. And then the skills is the cookbook and the recipes. And then the commands are like the head chef is telling the sous chefs, like, hey, I need you to chop those vegetables. Like that's a command. And then the sub-agents are like the sous chefs. So these are the people who are, kind of going off and doing these different things and coming back to the chef and saying, okay, here, I got the vegetables chopped. Right. So this is a way of kind of thinking about agents and commands and skills and tools. So one thing that I realized once I started digging into these Claude skills is like you can literally point a script at a website, like a documentation site. It pulls down all the documentation and it creates a skill, and then you can drop that in a Claude, and it's like Claude's like, I know Kung Fu. If you've seen the Matrix film, So it's like you can basically like just give the AI these skills within a matter of minutes. Like it takes maybe 10 minutes to like scrape the Django website and like of all the documentation. And like now the AI is like an expert Django developer and knows everything about the API and everything. So I've been really, in the last few days, like I think ExoMind is up to like 42 different skills now that I've been playing with. We're not going to look at all 42 tonight, don't worry. But I'm going to show a few. So what is ExoMind? So this started, like I said, on Sunday at the Sunday Club. How many people here have been to Sunday? Raise your hand. Okay, so just a brief plug for Sunday. So Sunday is this weekly hack club we made usually by MIT. And we get together at 10 in the morning and we hack till 10 in the night, 10 in the evening. And basically the goal is to like come up with an idea and build something using AI and then ship it by the end of the day. So it's a really great way to learn about the latest and greatest AI. It's a great community. It's a lot of fun. And I highly encourage everyone here, if you're interested in doing that kind of thing, to come check it out. So what is ExoMind? So it knows your story. It knows your writing style. It knows your patterns. And it really kind of turns managing your life, like adulting, sometimes some people call it, into a game, right? You can like gamify it. And it helps you, with different personal strategies. Like you're trying to figure out how to, get more exercise in your life, or you're trying to figure out how to make some forward progress on some projects. ExoMind kind of has all that context of like, what does your life look like? And what are you trying to accomplish? And what tools do I have that I can leverage to help you accomplish those things? So what I've been doing the last few days is just adding more agents. I've been like integrating different MCP servers, trying to make it more modular so it's like pluggable. And now we're gonna get into a little demo. But first, because I didn't have time to do like a really polished demo, I'm gonna like turn it back to the audience, and we're gonna do a little choose your own adventure. So you can pick a color, you could just blindly point at the screen, or you can just if any of these things look interesting, like, oh, I'd like to know how you can do that, then we can do a little demo of it. You want to see Instacart? Okay. The Instacart GPT or the meal planning one? Okay. So in order to do that, I am going to quickly do some meal planning because that is what feeds into the Instacart. So the purple one and the blue one in the center are kind of related. Let's queue up a couple other ones. What are some other ones that people want to see?
Let's see. So you made this presentation?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to see how I did that? Okay. Yep. I'm also going to turn on the voice mode, and we'll see if that works. It might be a little weird because I'm also recording and maybe the audio and we'll get messed up, but we'll try it. One that I'm really excited about, we probably won't have time to show the whole thing today, is this the one in the upper right, biz ideation. So basically vetting business ideas and kind of taking them through the whole process of like sourcing the idea, kind of doing competitive analysis, coming up with, brand guidelines, product strategy, building out a PRD, like the whole end-to-end process of like company ideation. I've had really, really, really good luck just the last few days. I've been playing with that. I also discovered that you can give Claude its own private journal where it writes about you and its interactions with you. And you can kind of like, I haven't got that one going yet, but I've read a blog post about some guy who had it, and he said it was really, really interesting because it had all these observations, almost like a therapist, like, well, today Nate was really grumpy, like it'll start talking about you and it also like give its own observations about your situation. Yeah.
So is each one of these a skill, or is each one of these a combination of sub-agents, tools, and skill?
Yeah, they're not all skills, but almost all of these make use of one or more skills. Yeah, and we can take a look at some of these skills just to show you what they look like. They're just markdown files. They're plain text that you can read. And what's cool about skills is you don't even have to be a coder to understand them. They're just a text file you can read, but the computer can also read it, right? Now, sometimes they do have like some code examples. Like if it's a skill to do something technical, you're going to put some examples in there. Yeah, so I use this tool called Granola, and it records all my Zoom meetings and my Google Meets. And at the end of every meeting, I have this transcript of the meeting, and I also have a summary. And so I asked ExoMind to go grab the transcript from Granola. There's no official API. It's doing kind of some reverse engineering to find where they're stored on my computer, and then it extracts the summary and the transcript, and then it converts it into a markdown file, and then it sticks the markdown file into my knowledge base. So now it's like indexable. I can now search on it. Yeah. So so we have a few. I think the first one was the Instacart and the meal planning, and then we had what was the one you wanted to see, Mike?
PowerPoint.
But you want to see the PowerPoint and then maybe the meeting memory. Okay. Well, that's probably plenty for today. So let's start with the meal planning. This is actually what kind of sparked on Sunday. This was our example that we demoed. Okay, so first I'm gonna do, you can see all these commands here. These are all different things. This is like, I know Kung Fu. These are all the things that Claude knows now that it can do. So if I just go to, let's see, converse. Let's see, I haven't tried it in this UI. I usually do it on the command line. Okay, maybe it doesn't work up there. Let's see. Okay, so I use this. This is not advisable, so don't try this at home. But I'm doing this dangerously skip permissions, just because we're doing a demo, and I don't want to have to be continuous at yes. Ideally, you would run this like on a cloud server somewhere and not on your actual machine. Okay, so I'm going to start a conversation. So I'm going to do converse. Why is that not loading? a sec here. Claude. I've been having some issues with the MCPs where sometimes they don't load right away. While we're waiting for these are all running locally. Yeah. I still have internet. I still have internet. Okay. Yeah. So every MCP server that you add eats up your context window. So if you have like a 200K context window, once you add all these things up, they can equal like half of that, right? You could use maybe like half of your context window just from these MCP servers. I think right now they're either on or they're off. There doesn't seem to be a way of telling it. Okay, so do we have the voice one? Okay, for some reason the voice isn't working. It might be because I'm doing Zoom and it doesn't let me also use the voice at the same time. I'm not really sure. So normally this would be talking to me, and I could do this, you know, hands-free. I could just be talking to the computer. But so it's asking me to do some meal planning. So what it's doing right now is it's using these two skills. You can see this is my .Claude directory, and in here I have all these different skills, and one of them is grocery shopping, and one of them is recipe finding. So first we'll just kind of go through these questions. So how many people are you planning meals for? I'll say 2. Which meals? Dinner, dietary, vegetarian, mealtime. Let's say it's 30 minutes, not more than 30 minutes. Okay, so now what it's going to do is basically it's going to try to put together a week of vegetarian dinner recipes for 2 people that can be prepared in under 30 minutes. And it's using this recipe finder skill to go search for vegetarian dinner recipes. And you can see it's just doing web searches. It's doing like 4 different web searches. And then it's kind of aggregating all those searches and picking out different recipes that match my preferences.
Did you specify that level?
Did I specify what? No, it's just, yeah, so it got a 15-minute vegetable curry. It got a vegetarian stir fry, taco skillet. Okay, it's looking at some other ones. Easy caprese pasta recipe. Yeah, while it's doing this, let's look. So here's the grocery shopping skill. So you can see what it looks like. So it's just a little descriptor at the top, like when you should use this skill. Use this when the user needs to create grocery lists from recipes, consolidate ingredients across recipes, check pantry inventory, convert to purchasable quantities, provide automation options for Costco, Instacart. So there's like an overview. Let's make this so it's a little bit easier to read. Doesn't know any of your preferences. It does actually. So I'm using Claude Code, and Claude Code knows my weekly schedule. So it can actually look at my calendar and see like nights when I have, you know, I'm at an event, I can't make dinner that night, or it's night out, so we're not going to cook that evening. So it has the context of my schedule. It can save those preferences, yeah. And then the next time it would already know that, okay, you're vegetarian, so I don't need to ask you that question.
So basically, it gives us in the skill is works with Zeri. Oh, Zeri remembers the stupid that.
Yeah, so here's an example, like store preferences in memory. So it knows which grocery store I like to shop at. It knows that I have a Costco membership. It knows that I have an Instagram subscription or Instacart subscription. It knows what items I have in my pantry that it shouldn't add to the cart because I already have enough flour. I don't need more flour. And it knows the last time I updated this. You mean the kinds of things that I add to my cart? Does that mean? Yeah, it has a history of all my past meals that I've made. So it can refer back to those. And if I tell it like, hey, that recipe, it really wasn't good, don't show me that recipe again, it won't show it again. So yeah, it's just a plain text file with some instructions in it. It has like, it's kind of step by step, right? Like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, like an inventory check. And then there's like convert to purchasable quantities. Cause it needs to know like, well, how many people are you making this for? Like how many people do I need to get 2 pounds of flour or 1 pound of flour, right? And then it converts that into a grocery list. So this is like the format of how you should format the shopping list. And what I like about it is it also organizes it by aisle or by dairy versus fruits and vegetables and whatever. So if you're at the grocery store, you've got a shopping list where it's grouped everything. Or if you're in Instacart, it can complete your Instacart order faster because it goes to each section of the site and it can see everything there. All right, let's see how it's doing on its planning here. Okay, so it wrote out a meal plan for the week of October 28th. And now I don't know what it's doing now. Now it's creating another, it's created that consolidated grocery list. So let's go to our memory, which is down here. And then we've got meal plans right here. Okay, it gave us a little summary. It's saying, here's your weekly meal plan on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It looks like it has us making food every night. I could maybe tell it like I only want to cook 2 nights a week and I'll have leftovers the other nights. So yeah, this is our meal plan, which we can open up and look at. Got too many windows open here. Okay, so this is what it produced. This is the weekly meal plan for 2 people, vegetarian, 30 minutes. So there's our Monday, easy veggie stir fry. There's our Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, and down at the bottom here, we should have a consolidated grocery list. Or did it maybe it put that in a different? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is what it's saying we need to buy. So it's a lot of stuff. So one thing we could do here is we could tell it to open up. I have this agentic browser on my computer called Browser OS, and I have an MCP server that can talk to this browser. So one way you could do this is I could say use the Browser OS MCP to go to Instacart and the items on the okay, so it hands off. I'm not doing anything here. It's going to Instacart and it's going to start trying to find all these items. Maybe I can make this. So it's This is, by the way, not the fast way to shop at Instacart. There's a more efficient way. I'm just showing you guys that you can control your browser agentically from Claude Code. This can also be done via Claude Desktop if you don't want to use the coding environment. Not sure why it seems to be stuck here. Get interactive elements. Okay, it's saying, perfect, I can see the Instacart is loaded. Now I'm gonna click on something. So now it's, now it's selecting the grocery store because I told it I wanted, what did I say, Star Market or Market Basket? I can't remember which store. I might have not told it which store I wanted. You can see it's not very fast at grocery shopping, but it's also doing something that I could be going for a bike ride while it's doing my grocery shopping for me, right? Okay, while that is going, I'm gonna show you guys a cheat code. Okay, you can see this is how computers read websites, is they kind of like take a screenshot of it and they can see all the different elements, the clickable elements. Okay, now it's in the Star Market. So now it's going up to the search bar and it's gonna look for bell peppers, or it's adding broccoli.
Is it looking for the best prices?
You could make that a requirement of the AI. You could tell it, I don't want to spend more than $5 on a bell pepper, so you better search 5 different stores to find me the best price. Yeah.
What is the pre and post doing?
Yeah, so that's writing to a SQLite database that runs locally on my machine. So it has a complete memory of everything that it's doing. And then the AI can consult that SQLite database next time it's going to do something to see if, basically get tips on what it's already done. Okay, this is taking way longer than I had expected to do this shopping stuff. But you get the idea. It is going to proceed and go through our shopping list. So I'll show you guys this before we move on to the next task. So if you grab that and then you go to ChatGPT, and then you go over here and you search for, there's one called Instacart. So Instacart has made their own GPT for ChatGPT, this one here. And you can basically chat with Instacart. So I say start chat. And then what I can do is say, please add these items to my Instacart cart. And I just paste in the items. There's a lot of items, so it's got to think on that. Okay, so then what it does is it creates a shopping list of all the items that you added. And then I just click this button and it takes me over to Instacart, and something went wrong. Okay, that didn't happen at home today when I tried this. We'll try this one more time. If this doesn't work, we'll just skip this. It does work, trust me. I did it at home and it generated, basically it added everything to my cart, so I didn't have to manually go through the website and like click on everything. We'll try this again. Okay, there must be something wrong with the Instacart site, or maybe ChatGPT's port. Okay, so that was meal planning. Obviously, there's some room for improvement there, but you get the idea. You wanted to see how I did the.
I'm also really curious. So looking at your skills and the, when I think of a role, like roles are typically like, you are a helpful assistant, blah, blah, a little bit more. And then it starts to get into a description of like when a user asks you for, basically the skills section. So I'm wondering, is your role now, or your your agent, has that been kind of hollowed out at this point, or is it still pretty rich, a lot going on in there? Does my question even make sense? Or is it not?
So think of like an agent is just an actor that carries out a task, and like I've seen some agents where the only descriptor in the agent file is like use this skill to do this task.
Right.
So
Just think it was
yeah,
polite plus your
yeah. So yeah, you're right. Like the agents are now. I'm not really sure like when you would just put everything in a skill file and when you would put it in the agent file. Like it's a little bit unclear. I've only been looking at these skills for like the last 3 days or something. But I think agents can have other properties beyond just instructions on how to do something, right? You can give like tool definition, like use these tools. And so should we look at the presentation one? If I can remember which of these it was. Yeah, the searching my past conversations isn't very useful. So if you use the Claude command line tool, this is a nice little trick. If you do -- resume, it will show you all your past conversations, and then you can like kind of scroll through them and find the one that you this is the area. This is the 20 hours ago I deleted a bunch of files in my working directory because it can restore the conversation. It can also restore the code. And if you say restore to the conversation and the code, then it interprets that as, oh, I guess you don't want all this code. I'll just discard it. So a bunch of new stuff that I had added, like some markdown files, just got wiped out, and now I can't seem to go back to those ones. Why am I not seeing the presentation one in here? Well, we can do a new presentation. It's not hard to do.
It's got this upload folder. So let's just this store buried in the SAR. So get back.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the skill, this PPTX. And by the way, if this IDE is intimidating for you, if you're not a developer, you can also do a lot of the same stuff I'm showing you right now. If you're on the Claude Max subscription, there's a new, they've added skills into this. So you can go into your settings, you're here. And then if you click on capabilities, there's a thing down here. So there's the memory that I just turned on today. And then here's where you can add skills. So these are different skills that I think some of these I uploaded. These are all the default ones. Thank you. Yeah, you can see they're all from Anthropic. Although this is one that I built, this meditation retreat finder skill, because I wanted to test like how hard would it be to build a skill that just crawls a bunch of meditation sites and finds out when there's retreats happening, and then gives me like the dates, and I don't have to go to all those websites to look that information up. So once you've created a skill, you just upload it in here, and then now Claude knows Kung Fu. Like that's basically all you have to do is like just create the skill. You can also ask Claude to help you create the skill, so you don't even have to really know how to code. You can just say like, help me build a skill, and then it'll give you a downloadable file. You download it, and then I think it's a little kludgy that they don't just put it in here. Like, why do I have to download it and upload it again? Like, you created it, can't you just install it? But that's how it works right now, is you upload the skill. Exactly. Yeah, it's a zip file that has a folder, and inside the folder is a skill.md file, and that's basically it. So yeah, let's just say we want to make a presentation.
So Renee, do you record
Oh, I don't. Does anyone have a MacBook power cord? I should have charged before I came, but I think it's my computer's using a lot of power now because it's also powering the Zoom meeting and the camera and everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't fit in that one?
See what it's
Oh, that's weird.
this one is the first. Let's see.
Yeah, that's going to the camera.
You lose all your. You can't show it as you.
You have this kind of, you don't have that kind of cable? I'm wondering if I unplug this, if it can just do wirelessly.
We also can put your.
Yeah. Well, if I,
lose audio,
yeah, I'll just record from the audio here. That should be fine. It's better that my computer doesn't die than I.
Here.
Okay, so now I'm just using my MacBook.
Yeah, no, I it's just only
Okay, so I'm gonna make a presentation from a couple files that I have sitting in a projects directory. So in my memory folder, I've got this projects folder, and then I have this black book project. So this is a project to basically do sort of like speed dating, but for professional networking. It's like putting people in a video room for like 2 minutes so they can get to know each other, and then they can like thumbs up, thumbs down, swipe right, swipe left if you want to like keep talking to this person, and then if not, it like puts you in a room with someone else, and you just kind of do that, and it's a way to like meet a lot of people virtually. So they're inside this folder. There's a product directory, and in here we have like some epics. So these are kind of like the overarching goals for this project. Kind of like, what are we? It's going to be like AI powered matching engine, speed networking, event engagement, real time. So these are the epics, and then we also have these user stories. So this is like a more of a breakdown of the actual acceptance criteria for each user story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Claude that I want a presentation made about the epics, right? It's probably wouldn't need to make a PowerPoint deck for this. Like you could just share a Google Deck, but just for an example, we're going to do that. So use the PPTX skills. You don't usually need to tell it to use a skill, but I found that sometimes it gets confused when you have a lot of skills and it picks the wrong one, or it tries to use its native skills instead of using the skill that you gave it to create a PowerPoint deck based on the epics. And then you can do this at memory projects. Why is that not working? Okay, it's not pulling that one up. Okay, memory projects, black book product, epics.md. Okay, so we'll see how it does with that. Yeah, I'm using the PPTX skill to create a PowerPoint, and it's reading from the memory the epics.md file. And it's now running that skill. So it's creating it based on the 8 product epics. So what's cool about Claude is that it has the ability to read and write Office documents. So I've given it like a template, like a Word template of like how I like my proposal structure. And then I've given it like the call transcript or summary of like a meeting I just had with a client. And then I just tell Claude like, okay, build a proposal based on this conversation that I had, and I give it a little more context. And then it basically can like accurately reproduce my proposals just from this template, and I don't have to like sit there and type, right? It's just, he's basically generating a proposal for me based on the conversation that I had. And so it's a huge time saver. Obviously, I'm reviewing the final document before I send it out, and I'll go in there and tweak it a little bit. But compare that to like opening up Word and like scrolling through it and like copy pasting stuff, and like it's like great as a first draft, like to get the thing going. And it also knows the context about my business and like all the other stuff, so it's able to kind of fill in all that other information. Okay, so you can see right now it looks like it's creating. Oh, interesting. It's doing HTML slides. That isn't what we asked for. Maybe it's going to do it as HTML first and then convert it. I don't know. Oh, it's generating a JavaScript conversion script. So I think that's how this skill works. It uses some kind of HTML to PowerPoint markdown. And then there's a script in here. There's this JavaScript file that converts the HTML into PowerPoint. So if we want to look at like what this skill actually does here, I gotta shut down so yeah. So here, reading and analyzing content, text extraction, raw XML access. So you can see this file is pretty long, right? It explains everything you need to know, or everything that the AI needs to know to read and write PowerPoint documents. And then there's all these like helper scripts, right? Like creating thumbnails and rearranging slides and taking an inventory. I also installed, I haven't had a chance to try this skill yet, but I added one that can read from my notebook LMs. So I can now load stuff up into Notebook LM where I have access to, Gemini's models, and can use that together with the stuff that I'm doing locally on my machine, which is pretty cool. Okay. Still working on that task. Any questions while we're waiting for this to finish? A poster? Could I ask it to generate? There is a skill that I played with. So this image on the very first, this right here, this was generated using one of these skills. I told it, I use this one called Canvas Design, and it's kind of an interesting skill. It creates beautiful visual art in PNG and PDF using design philosophy. You should use this skill when the user asks to create a poster, piece of art, design, or other static piece. Create original visual designs, never copying existing artist's work to avoid copyright violations. So you can see this is a pretty long document just in visual design, right? And it does all this thinking before it starts creating, thinking. It does this kind of philosophizing before it creates the image, which is kind of interesting. And it comes up with pretty novel stuff, I would say. I've tried it on 3 or 4 different things. Geometric silence, organic systems, analog meditation, chromatic language, concrete poetry. These are just a few philosophy examples. Okay. It's still going, still making our presentation. I don't remember it taking this long when I was at home. But maybe it's having to do a lot more thinking about this one.
So you have a
These are all on GitHub. Every one of these I found on GitHub. Yeah, so if you go to GitHub and you search for Claude Skills, why can't I see the top of my screen? This is weird. Claude Skills. There's 461 results. And this is growing. Like a day ago, that was 325 or something. So people are cranking these things out like nobody's business. And some of these are just lists of Claude skills. They're not actually Claude skills. So like awesome Claude skills. It's just a list of links to, well, these are actually skills here, but this one is really cool, the Skill Seeker. This is the one I was talking about that can convert any documentation website into a Claude skill. So you can point it at anything you're trying to learn, and it'll go to the site, scrape down all the content from that site, and then it'll attempt to convert it into a skill that you can load into Claude Code. So people are building skills for all kinds of stuff. Just about anything you might want the computer to do. People are building. There's like a GIF creator, a Slack GIF creator, tracking your habits, a UI. How expensive is what? Oh, so Claude Code they have a free plan, but like you run out of tokens pretty quick on the free plan. So then I think the cheapest paid plan is $20, and then it goes 100 and 200. I'm on the 200 a month plan. But I'm also using this to write software. So I think if you're just using it to manage your life, you probably wouldn't need a $200 a month plan. You could probably get by with the other one. Yeah.
Those are oxygen or treatment, but treatment and what get quickly you end up with like just a lot of
Yeah. Yeah, that's on my to investigate next, which is I am using something called Claude Flow, which I know you know about. And Claude Flow ships with a memory bank, a reasoning memory bank system. So there is some kind of existing memory system in this project that I'm using right now. But there's a lot of other tools out there that help you to manage the memory. Yeah, that's a big one thing I'm noticing is it's very prolific in creating markdown files, like creates lots and lots of markdown files. And I don't know, when I ask a question, I don't know if it has knowledge of all those markdown files or if it's going to recreate them, or, after a while, I can imagine you'll have this proliferation of markdown files and it's just going to be chaos again. It's going to look like those sticky notes on the first. So I need to figure out this problem. Like, how can I'm thinking it's probably going to be a knowledge graph that can make like semantic connections between all these different bits of information. So the markdown files, but also like third party, I have like my bookmarks live over here, and then I have LinkedIn posts, and I have my ultimate goal would be to have like all of the information that I'm managing is all indexable and searchable, and I can find it instantly. That's kind of like the holy grail for me. If I can build a system that can do that, right? Okay, well, we're coming up on time. We should probably wrap it up so we have a little networking time. I'm gonna just finish up with just mentioning a few. Oops, I want to play from start. Play from. This one. Yeah. So the other thing I've been thinking about is it'd be cool to have multiple agents that have personalities. So I have like a finance buddy, I have like a workout fitness coach, I have someone who can help me, with my schedule. I have a scheduling, and each of these AI agents could have like a unique voice and personality. And we could even have like team meetings, right? Like get everyone in the same room and like they can report back to me. How are you doing? All this different stuff. Help me make decisions on things. I want to be able to use this, not have to carry on my laptop everywhere I go. So I want to have like a mobily accessible version of this. And I've been looking at a few ways to do that. Also, when my laptop is closed, the agents can't be working on stuff. So I also want to have a way of like running this in the cloud, but still have access to my local file system because I have a lot of local stuff that I don't want up in the cloud, right? And then I also want to be able to like schedule tasks. So like have 9 a.m, I want a debrief of everything that happened last night, right? And I wake up in the morning and I just have like, here's everything that we did for you, Nate. And also be able to have agents that are just running continuously. Like I don't have to prompt them. They're just running all the time and doing stuff. They're researching or they're, helping me to, I don't know, not mine Bitcoin, but like they're doing other stuff, that I want them to do without having to like continually prompt them to do it. So thank you all for your attention. And again, if you want to connect with me, that's my LinkedIn.